How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. So today I want to talk about Invesco Mortgage Capital, which is IVR stock. That's the ticker symbol. And since last trading day, we're actually up 4%, which is 13 cents. So I have a feeling that as we go into Wednesday, December 16th, we're going to see a little bit of volatility. So hopefully we stay in the green, even if it's not by a lot, but we want to stay in the green. Just so we can keep going on this uptrend, because we want to end the week in the green. So far, the stock has actually been in the red. If you look at the weekly chart, it's down 3% or 12 cents. So we want to get back up to the 340, 350. Hopefully, from there we can start, building some momentum to go up back to $4. $4 is a major level in price for IVR, and we're not just going to talk about this rate right here. We're going to talk about MFA. And after we talk about MFA and comparing their dividend history with IVR, we're also going to mention these other rates. One called the New York Mortgage Trust. This one's also good, NYMT. There's another one called New Residential Investment. Now, this is just to name a few, right? There's a lot of other rates in the U.S. or stocks that you can purchase and invest into the stock market and also real estate at the same time without having to really buy any property. So you're essentially just holding these shares and receiving dividends for doing nothing. So a lot of these, they have pretty decent dividend yields. So, and we're going to look at that in a bit here. I want to quickly introduce you to this offer right here. It's a limited time offer. Actually, I don't know how long this is going to last, but you'll get 4 free stocks if you join Webull today. There's a link in the description of my video. Go down below, click on it. The sign up process is so easy. It tells you instructions on how to do it, and you can get through that pretty quickly, and you will have 4 free stocks. Literally, these are valued between $8 and $1,600 each. This is free money. The reason why I like to promote this is because you guys, you guys get some sort of value from this. So you guys get free money, and I do get some of the kickback for sharing this link. So this is definitely going to benefit you guys, especially if you're new to investing and you want to get started on a new platform. This is going to be perfect for you. So take advantage of this offer. It won't last long. So yeah. Link is in the description of my video. Check it out. Thank you. So first, let's actually talk about IVR. So I got a video suggestion from someone like this. Someone told me I should make a video on this, so I'm going to talk about it. Now, the last time we actually experienced any sort of growth with the price of IVR, if we look at the charts, I'm on TradingView right now. We're looking at the summer of 2020 this year. You know that we went up all the way. We ended up waking up to $8 and 38 cents, but we didn't close there on June 8th. My bad. June 8th, we actually closed at around $5.17. Obviously, there was a crazy amount of price action going on, and a lot of the bulls were in control during most of the day on June 8th. But the stock actually, like I said, ended up falling down right above the previous day's closing price, which was at around $4.25. Keep in mind, the stock before then was actually below $3 for the most part. So having it go up to at least $5 and staying there for even a little bit, even for the few days that I stayed up above $5, that was huge for the stock. It gave me a lot of optimism. So I was thankful because I had a lot more shares, and now I own less, but I had more. I ended up selling some to take profits. But I still think that overall, in the long run, when I'm holding shares of IVR or other rates, I'm going to receive dividends, and those dividends are going to end up paying for basically for either I'm going to be able to reinvest that into more different companies, or use that money for food or whatever, just take it out. So it just depends how much you have invested. So that's how much you're going to get back through dividends based on the dividend yield, and annual yield return or whatever. But if you look at the closing right here on June 4th, you can see that the stock actually was sitting at right below $3 at $2.92. So it's crazy, the fact that it went up so high, and this is where there was a lot of selling going on. There's a sell-off that took place. The stock just went back down, but it actually stayed around this area, this key area right here of $3.50. It actually managed to stay and consolidate here at these prices. Now, there was some days where it went below $3, but overall we're doing a pretty good job at recovering and hopefully building back up some momentum. As you can see, the prices started moving up. Now it looks like it's consolidating again after it moved up to close to $4 at 360, and now it's going back down to the 30s. And when you're talking about the price, so yeah, 330 right now is there's major consolidation support here. This is where there's a huge gap right here, and we ended up kind of like closing that and filling that. So that's why we're staying above this area of like $3.30-40. So that's why we're actually managing to stay above. Obviously, if there was no support here, we'd be back at where we were previously, which was below $3. So this stock is great. I feel like we're gonna eventually go back up to at least $4 to $5 in the short term. Now in the long term, we can maybe hope for half of what it used to trade for before the pandemic hit and it crashed a lot of stocks, which was around $17-18. In January, beginning of 2018, it was close to like $19 around there. So we were actually at like all-time highs when all of a sudden it just fell. So like, yeah, so I hope we can get back to at least half of what it used to trade for. That's just my long-term prediction for the price. That's gonna be a year or two, maybe 3 years out, so I'm not exact on that. It could take longer. We gotta be patient. I am gonna benefit from the dividends till then, so I'm happy that I'm able to receive dividends from holding these stocks anyway, as we go back up to all-time highs, which we were before the pandemic. But yeah, let me continue with the information about the dividend history. As you guys can see, the IVR dividend history is pretty detailed. There's a lot of history recently where they've been paying out their dividends. Thankfully, the last payment date for IVR was 10/27 or October 27th. They do have an annual dividend amount of 20 cents. So a dividend yield is 6.1%, and that's pretty similar to MFA. MFA's last payment date was on October 30th, which is actually kind of recent. Now this was for people who were holding the stock up until the September 29th date. So if you held stock before that date, you qualified to receive your payment on October 30th. So that's what that means right there. And they also have an annual dividend of 20 cents, and the dividend yield is a little lower. That's because MFA's price is a bit higher than IVR's at 384. What's pretty interesting is that MFA, when you compare MFA and New York Mortgage Trust, they're pretty similar. When you look at the 5-year chart, you can see that the New York Mortgage Trust was trading at around $6 a share before the pandemic hit and it crashed the stock. Same thing with MFA. It was actually trading at around anywhere between $6 to $7. So almost around $8. So, and also right now they're currently trading at around the same price. So look, New York Mortgage Trust is 383. And also MFA Financial is 384. So that's pretty interesting that they're both around that same price level currently today. Now the NRZ, which is the new residential investment, this one's actually a little bit pricier, but this one's more similar to IVR, because if you look at IVR, if you look at its price, all-time high, it was around $17-18. Same thing with NRZ, it was around that price level of like anywhere between $16 to $17. So yeah, these are pretty similar. There's a lot of institutional ownership going on for these companies. So like Invesco Mortgage Capital, this one has a lot of investors like BlackRock Fund Advisors, the Vanguard Group, along with SSGA Funds Management. MFA is pretty similar to Vanguard Group and BlackRock. You see the same names. Basically, this is smart money holding these stocks. And the Vanguard Group and BlackRock seem to own the most amount of these shares than any other hedge fund or mutual fund, whatever. These are the ones that are really smart. They're holding. They've been selling recently, but for the most part, they still own a pretty sizable stake. So 16% here, 9% here. We have 16% here, and I'm looking at the top owner for these three companies. So yeah, and obviously the fact that these the institutions haven't sold off on all their shares or a majority of them just shows you that there's still some form of institutional ownership and interest for these companies and rates, because they do provide a stable form of dividend yield and payouts, which is amazing. That's what some people are looking for. Is this stable? Is this great even during a recession? I looked at this article. Let me go to it because I need to find it. I had it somewhere around here. Let me. Okay, it's right here. So, why would I suggest rates heading to a recession? It says right here that a lot of investors avoid rates today simply because they still have nightmares of the 2008-2009 carnage and fear of remake of it sometime near the future. So recognizing that each recession is different, we believe that it is more rational to look at the performance of different asset classes over many cycles to assess their resilience to recessions. So the conclusion is that rates are exceptionally resilient to recessions. So, at the exception of the Great Financial Crisis, they have provided meaningful downside protection in recessions and outperformed the S&P 500 by more than 7% per year in the late cycle period since 1991. So, most rates, from the past 30 years, have actually outperformed the S&P 500, even throughout recessions and stuff. So hopefully we can actually go back to I'm talking like 3 to 5 years from now, we can go back to a pretty high stable price for these companies. Maybe not back to its all-time high of where it used to trade, but maybe half of that. That's pretty reasonable, I would say. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, definitely leave a like and comment, and subscribe to my channel if you want to stay updated on future videos. Don't forget to hit the bell for notifications. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.